Let's start with the biggest story.
Yes, the New York Jets are 1-0, right where they would theoretically have wanted to be about 48 hours ago. Unfortunately, for the rest of the season, we have confirmation now Aaron Rodgers will not be a part of, at least on the field, the New York Jets team. Robert Saleh saying that this is going to be Zach Wilson's team, though we have reports from Diana Rossini at The Athletic and elsewhere that the Jets have made calls on some veteran signal callers. John Butchko from Locked On Jets joins me now. And John, we talked about this a little last night about the shock and the disappointment of this in the moment. Now that this has all settled, we'll talk about the team in a second. How do Jets fans move forward here?
It was one of the strangest experiences ever. I don't think Jets fans have ever, I don't think many NFL fans have ever gone through an experience like that, where you have a game and you leave both feeling exhilarated because your team had this amazing victory where they came back from 10 down and they overcame the adversity of losing their starting quarterback, just a crushing blow right at the beginning of not just the game, but of the season. At the same time, you lost this guy who we were depending on. You've had this whole season building up, months of anticipation. You got a Hall of Fame quarterback after you've spent decades really trying to find the next franchise quarterback. I mean, in many ways, the Jets have been searching for a franchise quarterback since Joe Namath. Yeah. And it felt like they finally found one in Aaron Rodgers, and you've lost him after 4 plays. I mean, I wrote this on my website last night that if you were coming up with like a Hollywood script of the team that's cursed and somebody wrote that you'd lose the Hall of Fame quarterback after 4 plays, the script would be rejected and the writer would be fired for coming up with something that lazy and predictable. It's just unbelievable. You couldn't make it up. So very mixed emotions leaving that game, Pete.
And so for the Jets, the reason you go get Aaron Rodgers is because you feel like this team is ready to go, ready to compete right now. My guess is they don't feel that much different about Zach Wilson today than they did 6 months ago when they made the decision to go get Aaron Rodgers, or even maybe sooner than that potentially. So what options out there do you feel like are realistic that could get them where they want to go? Are there any?
I don't know if there are, because finding a quarterback is the hardest thing to do in the NFL.
Yeah.
There's just all the
You just said the Jets have spent 50 years trying to find one.
I mean, that's the thing is we've been trying to find a quarterback for a really long time. And that's part of the reason getting Aaron Rodgers was such a big deal, is because it's so difficult to find one. It's difficult to find one under any circumstances. But once you get in season, it's just, I mean, who's going to give up a good quarterback to you? And I think that the question is, even if a team has a quality backup, are you really going to want to trade quarterback depth after week 1? I mean, I've heard people talk about Jameis Winston. I've heard Andy Dalton come up. You know, those are 2 teams in the NFC South, which is a division that's wide open. Are you going to want to give up your backup quarterback, your insurance, after watching what happened to the Jets, seeing how valuable quarterback depth is? I think it's a lot to ask. So I agree with you. I don't think the Jets have a lot of confidence in Zach Wilson. I mean, look at the way they called plays in that Monday night game, especially in the 4th quarter when they're driving. They could score a touchdown that would essentially put the game away. They did not let Zach Wilson throw the ball once they got in scoring range because they were afraid of what would happen. They said, we're going to settle for the field goal and trust our defense. So I don't know who it's going to be. I mean, the general manager, Joe Douglas, has ties to a couple guys who are free agents right now. Carson Wentz could be an option. Maybe Nick Foles. Both of those guys played for the Eagles while Douglas was there. Joe Flacco has been with the Jets. There have been reports that he wants to. I mean, Joe Flacco probably would sign with any team that will take him at this point, but I don't know that any of those guys are better than Zach Wilson. I mean, let's see. I mean, forget about a quarterback who can take you the distance. Are any of these guys really better than Zach Wilson? If they are, I'm not sure it's by much.
How much, if you're Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh, though, do you have to take into account the pressure that was amplified when you got Aaron Rodgers? And now we don't know. Aaron Rodgers just a few days ago was all happy and talking about, I can play till I'm 45 as long as I'm healthy. Well, now he's going to be a 40-year-old quarterback rehabbing an Achilles injury. There's no guarantee that he can even come back and play next season or would want to go through that. So isn't there an urgency here in the organization to say, we got to try something?
There is absolutely an urgency. I completely agree with you. I mean, if you look at the way this team's set up, they pushed a lot of cap hits to the future to try and maximize the window now for the next 2 years. So I think they have to try and leave no stone unturned. I mean, I think they have to try and make a move. And I think that they should be searching for every quarterback who could be an upgrade right now.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.